Hello and welcome back to JBC English Learning Academy. My name is Laura, and I'm here to guide you on your journey to clear, confident, and natural English. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss a lesson. Your support truly helps this channel grow. Alright, take a deep breath, relax, and let's begin today's session. It always begins in a quiet room. A room that looks simple, ordinary, and maybe even a little boring. A chair, a desk, a cup of tea, a phone resting on the side. And somewhere inside that room, there is a learner. Someone like you. Someone who dreams of speaking English smoothly, confidently, and naturally. But who does not always have people to practice with. Someone who maybe feels a little nervous speaking in front of others. Someone who perhaps thinks, how can I improve my English speaking when I am alone? This is the moment where our story starts. Not with noise, not with a big crowd, but with silence. Silence can feel scary. Silence can feel empty. But today that silence becomes your teacher. It becomes your partner. It becomes the space where your English voice finally begins to wake up. Welcome to JBC English Learning Academy. My name is Laura, and today I want to guide you through a long, gentle, powerful English journey. A journey where you will not just listen. You will speak. You will shadow. You will repeat. You will feel the language moving inside you. And you will learn how to practice English speaking alone, in a way that feels natural and enjoyable. Take a deep breath. Relax your shoulders. Let your jaw loosen. And imagine that I am right there with you, sitting across the room, speaking softly, slowly, clearly. We begin with a simple line. A line that every storyteller knows. A journey begins with a single step. But today your step is not with your feet. It is with your voice. Try saying this out loud with me. A journey begins with a single step. Say it slowly. Say it again a little louder. Say it one more time with confidence. Good. You just took your first step. Many learners believe that speaking English alone is impossible. They think they need a partner, a teacher, a friend, a class, a group. But the truth is, all you really need is your voice, your ears, and a little bit of imagination. Speaking alone is not a weakness. It is not a second option. It is one of the strongest ways to improve. And now your room, the quiet room you are sitting in, becomes something special. It becomes a place of practice, a place of focus. A place where you can talk without fear. A place where your English grows freely without judgment. Look around your room for a moment. Every object in this space can help you practice English. The chair you are sitting on. The window you are looking through. The door behind you. Even the light above you. Everything can become part of your speaking practice if you know how to use it. This is the power we will explore today. As you sit there listening to my voice, I want you to imagine something. Imagine a version of you 6 months from now. A version who speaks English smoothly and clearly. A version who feels no fear when talking to strangers. A version who can express ideas, feelings, and stories with confidence. That version of you is not far away. That version is already inside you. Today we simply open the door. And we start with the simplest practice of all, listening. Listening is not passive. Listening is not just receiving sound. Listening is learning the rhythm of English. The music of English. The pauses, the flow, the rise and fall. When you listen in the right way, English slowly enters your mind like water entering soil. Goes deep. It stays. So right now, just listen. Listen to the slow, gentle sound of each sentence. Listen to how the words connect. Listen to how the breath moves between thoughts. This is your first exercise. Silent listening. But soon we will add your voice. For now, imagine that this story is a small movie. You are the main character. You are the hero. And every hero begins with a challenge. Your challenge is simple. Learning to speak English alone without feeling strange, without feeling stuck, and without feeling lost. And I promise by the end of this entire lesson, you will never again ask, how can I practice speaking alone? You will already know. You will already feel it. You will already be doing it. Now I want you to picture the door of your room once again. Imagine that behind that door is a world full of people speaking English. People at cafes, at airports, in meetings, on the street, at restaurants, in classrooms, and you are about to join them. But before you walk out into that world, you must rehearse inside this room, like an actor preparing for the stage. This room becomes your practice stage, your safe place, your training ground, and your voice, even if soft, even if uncertain, begins to rise. Because English grows every time you use it, just like a muscle. You don't need perfection. You only need repetition. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you talked to yourself in English? Maybe never. Maybe sometimes. Maybe only in your head. But today you will speak out loud. And speaking out loud is powerful. Because your ears hear your voice, your mouth shapes the words, and your memory becomes stronger. So let's begin your first speaking task. Look at something in your room. Anything. An object. A simple object. And describe it out loud in the simplest English. For example, this is my chair. It is brown. It is strong. I use it every day. Now your turn. Choose something around you. Speak one sentence. Then another. And another. Speak slowly. Don't think too much. Just describe. Good. You see? You are speaking already. You are practicing already. Alone, yes, but not lonely. Because the English language is your partner today. Now let's step deeper into the story. Imagine you are walking inside a quiet forest. The trees are tall. The air is soft. And every sound echoes slowly. Your footsteps are gentle. You speak and your voice echoes back to you. This is exactly what speaking alone feels like. Your voice returns to your ears. And that echo teaches you. In this forest, every tree is like a new English sentence. You walk past one. You speak. You listen. Then you move to the next. Sentence after sentence, step after step, your voice becomes stronger. You whisper at first. Then you talk normally. Then you speak with confidence. And suddenly, you are no longer practicing alone. You are practicing with yourself. With your own growing ability. The forest becomes brighter. The air becomes clearer. And you feel something new. A little joy. A small warm joy that says, I can do this. Now look back at your room again. That same room that seemed ordinary at the beginning of this story. Now it feels different, doesn't it? Feels like a place of learning. Place of possibility. A place where your English voice will grow every day. And this is only the beginning. Because in the next sections we will explore powerful techniques. Shadowing, storytelling, self-conversation, emotional speaking practice, real-life simulation, fluency loops, and more. Techniques you can use every day, even when you are alone. But for now, take one more deep breath. Feel your voice relaxing. Feel your English waking up. This is your journey. And today it begins beautifully. The room is still quiet. Nothing has changed around you, and yet everything feels different now. Your mind is more open. Your breathing is softer. Your English voice is awake, like a small light beginning to shine inside a dark space. In this moment, you might feel something unusual, a mixture of small excitement and a little fear. Speaking English alone can feel strange at first. You may think, am I doing this right? Or do I sound silly speaking to myself? But let me tell you a secret. Every great English speaker, every confident communicator, every storyteller who sounds natural and fluent, has spoken alone many times before speaking to others. Yes, even native speakers talk to themselves. Even actors practice alone. Even public speakers rehearse alone. Even teachers test their own voice in an empty room. You are not strange. You are training. And today your training goes deeper. Imagine you are standing in front of a small mirror. You look at your face, your eyes, your mouth, your expression, and you begin to speak. Softly at first, then with a little more strength. As you watch yourself talk, you notice something. English is not just in your mouth. It is in your eyes, your hands, your breath, your posture. Language is not only sound. It is emotion, movement, intention. When you speak alone, you discover your true voice, because there is nobody watching you, nobody judging you, nobody waiting for you to make a mistake. It is just you, your reflection, and the English language gently filling the space around you. I want you to try something right now. Take a slow, deep breath and say softly, I am learning. I am growing. I am practicing. Say it again a little clearer. I am learning. I am growing. I am practicing. And one more time, not loud but strong. I am learning. I am growing. I am practicing. Good. This is the voice of someone who is becoming fluent. And this voice will guide you through the rest of our journey today. Now, let me tell you a short story that will help you understand the power of speaking English alone. There was once a student named Aaron. He lived in a small town where almost nobody spoke English. He had no English-speaking friends. He had no classes. He had no partner to practice with. But he had one thing: a strong desire to speak the language well. Every morning Aaron would wake up, look into the mirror and describe everything he saw. This is my hair. It looks messy today. These are my eyes. They look sleepy. This is my shirt. It is blue. This is my face. I look ready for the day. First it felt strange. He felt silly. He laughed at himself. But he kept going, because he knew that even simple English, repeated again and again, would make him stronger. One day, he began telling stories to his reflection. Simple stories, childhood memories, dreams for the future, feelings, ideas. English began to feel more natural, less like a foreign language, more like a part of his everyday life. 6 months later, he visited a different city and met travelers from other countries. They said, "Wow, your English is so clear." And Aaron smiled because he knew something they did not know. He learned all of that alone in front of a mirror. Why am I telling you this story? Because you can do exactly the same. Actually, you are already beginning to do it. Now close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your future self, relaxed, fluent, confident. Imagine speaking English easily in a cafe, on the phone, at work, while traveling, while making new friends. Imagine expressing yourself without searching for words, without fear, without that voice in your head saying, "I'm not good enough." Right now in this quiet room, you are creating that future. And the first step is waking up your English voice. Let's go a little deeper. I want you to slowly repeat the following sentences after me. These are not grammar exercises. These are emotional, real-life sentences, the kind you use when you talk to people in everyday life. But today you speak them alone. You build them like muscles. Take your time. Speak slowly. Today I am practicing English. I am not afraid of making mistakes. I learn every time I speak. My English will improve if I keep going. I am becoming more confident. I can express myself. I can speak clearly. My voice matters. My English matters. I am getting better. Good. Feel the rhythm. Feel the sound. Feel the meaning. Speaking alone is not only about vocabulary or grammar. It is about connection with your voice, with your breath, with your growing identity as an English speaker. Now imagine your English voice as a small flame. First it is tiny, soft, shy, but with every word you speak, the flame grows. With every sentence, it becomes brighter. With every moment of practice, it becomes stronger. And soon that flame will turn into a warm fire, a fire of confidence, fluency, and clarity. Let me ask you something important. Have you ever stayed silent in a conversation because you were afraid to say the wrong thing? Have you ever wanted to speak but doubted yourself? Most learners feel this, and it is okay. But speaking alone gives you a space where fear disappears, where there is no pressure, where you can make mistakes again and again until the fear becomes small and powerless. This is why practicing English alone is one of the strongest ways to grow. Now let's introduce your first real technique, something you will use again and again throughout this long lesson. Microshadowing. Microshadowing is simple. I speak a short sentence. Then you repeat it immediately like a small echo. Not perfect. Not identical. Just close. Listen first. I can speak English. Now you repeat. I can speak English. Good. Listen again. I am practicing right now. You repeat. I am practicing right now. Again. I am improving every minute. You repeat. I am improving every minute. This technique trains your mouth, your tongue, your breath, your rhythm. Every time you shadow a sentence, your fluency becomes smoother. Your listening becomes sharper. And your confidence grows like a plant reaching toward the sun. Let's try a few more. Shadow slowly. I hear the words. I feel the words. I speak the words. I trust myself. I am learning step by step. I do not need to rush. I can grow at my own speed. Good. Your voice is becoming warm now. Your English is waking up. You are ready for the next part of the journey. But before we go, let me give you one more image. Imagine you are sitting inside your room, speaking English softly. And outside the window, the world is quiet. But inside your room, there is movement. There is energy. There is growth. You are doing something special, something that many people dream of but never do. You are building your future with your own voice. This is the first voice, the beginning voice, the voice that will carry you through the next sections, where we go even deeper into storytelling, conversation practice, emotional expression, and fluency training. For now, take one more breath. Speak one more sentence. I am ready for the next step. Because you are. The room you are sitting in, the one that felt quiet, simple, and ordinary, now becomes something else. It becomes your teacher. Not a teacher with a book. Not a teacher with a lesson plan. But a teacher that listens to your voice, accepts your mistakes, and allows you to grow freely. Many learners think they need a classroom. They think they need a partner. They think they need a native speaker every day. But the truth is, your room can teach you more than you imagine, if you use it the right way. So let's begin transforming this room into a space of learning. Take a slow look around. It does not matter if you are in a small bedroom, a living room, a study space, or even a quiet corner. What matters is this. Every object in this room has a story. Every object gives you a chance to speak. You may think, how can a room teach me English? Let me show you. Pick one object. Any object. Something close to you. Look at it for a moment. Let's say you choose a cup, or a pillow, or a book, or your phone, or even the wall. Now take a deep breath and describe it in the simplest English. If you feel nervous, that's okay. You are practicing. You are growing. Try something like this. This is my cup. It is white. I use it every day. If you want to add more, it is warm. It holds tea. It reminds me to relax. Now try describing your object the same way, soft, simple, natural English. Good. You might feel like these sentences are too easy, too simple. But simple is powerful. When you speak simple English again and again, your brain becomes confident. Your voice becomes relaxed. Your speaking becomes natural. This is how children learn languages, through repetition, through simple descriptions, through everyday objects. Your room is full of these objects. Let's practice with another one. Look at your window and speak. This is my window. I can see the sky through it. Maybe extend it. The light comes in through the window. It makes my room feel warm. Good. Now look at your door. This is my door. When it is closed, the room is quiet. Extend. I feel safe when the door is closed. It helps me focus. Look around again. Speak again. Each object becomes a small English lesson, a small step toward fluency. Now let's take this a little further. Imagine your room is speaking back to you. Imagine it says, "Tell me a story." Yes, this is the next level. This is where your room becomes your storytelling partner. Let me guide you into this. Take a moment to choose one simple object, maybe a chair, a cup, a book, a plant, a pen. It doesn't matter. Hold the image of that object in your mind. Now ask yourself a question. Where did this object come from? You may not know the real answer, but that's okay. You can imagine. You can create. You can practice speaking through a story. For example, this cup came from a small shop. I bought it last year. When I drink tea from it, I feel calm. Or, this chair was here when I moved into this room. It is a little old, but it is strong. Your turn. Look at your object. Imagine a small story behind it. Speak slowly. Speak clearly. Good. See, you are speaking English naturally. Not memorizing grammar rules, not repeating phrases from textbooks. You are using your imagination. You are practicing storytelling. And storytelling is one of the best ways to improve speaking fluency, because it helps you connect ideas and emotions. Now let's go even deeper. Your room is not only full of objects, it is also full of memories, full of moments, full of feelings. And these memories can help you practice English too. Look around again and choose a spot. Maybe your bed, your desk, the corner of the room, a shelf, a chair. Think of a moment that happened there. It could be something small, something simple, something peaceful. For example, I remember sitting at this desk last week. I was tired, but I kept studying. Or, I sat on this bed yesterday and listened to music. It made me feel happy. Your turn. Find a memory. Describe it in English. Slowly, softly, with no pressure. Good. Do you notice something? You are speaking longer now. Your sentences are more connected. Your voice is warmer. Your English is becoming more natural. And you are still alone, yes, but your room is helping you. It is guiding you. It is giving you ideas. This is why practicing English alone works. The world around you speaks, even in silence. Now let me introduce you to a technique that only advanced learners usually discover, but today you will start using it like a storyteller. It is called room narration. Room narration is simple. You describe your actions as you do them. You speak while you move. You speak while you live. For example, if you stand up, you speak, I am standing up now. If you walk to the door, I am walking to the door. If you open your window, I am opening the window. If you sit down again, I am sitting down. This may sound too easy, but it is not. It trains your brain to think in English, not translate. It teaches your mouth to speak automatically. It builds fluency from the inside. Let's practice this together. Sit still for a moment. Now slowly move your hand to touch something nearby. And say, I am moving my hand. I am touching the table. I am resting my hand. Do it again with another small movement. I am picking up the pen. I am putting it back down. Good. You are narrating your life in English. This is how fluency grows. Imagine narrating your morning like this. I am brushing my teeth. I am making tea. I am opening the curtains. I am choosing my clothes. I am getting ready for the day. If you do this even for 5 minutes each day, your speaking will change dramatically. Now I want you to do a small exercise. Look at your hand. Yes, your own hand. Move it slowly. And say, this is my hand. I am moving it. It feels warm. Good. Now place your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. Feel your breath. And say, I feel my breathing. I feel calm. Excellent. You are connecting English with your body. This is powerful. This is real fluency training. Now let's turn your room into a bigger story. A story of your life. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your room at a different time. Early morning or late at night or on a rainy day or when you are excited or when you are tired. Choose one moment and describe it. For example, last night my room was quiet. I sat on the bed and listened to the rain. It was peaceful. Or, this morning my room was bright. Sunlight came through the window. I felt fresh and ready. Now your turn. Speak it softly, naturally. You do not need perfect grammar. You only need honesty. Good. Do you feel how your sentences are growing longer? How your thoughts flow more easily? How your voice sounds more natural? This is what happens when the room becomes your teacher. Now we go one more step deeper. Imagine that your room is the first chapter of your English story. Everything starts here. Every sound you practice here will follow you into the world. Every sentence you speak here becomes part of your future. I want you to say one last line before we move to the next section. This room is where my English grows. Say it again slowly. This room is where my English grows. Because it's true. And now you're ready to step into the next part of our journey. The room is calm. Your breathing is steady. Your voice is warm and awake. Now it's time to step into one of the most powerful speaking techniques in the world. A technique used by actors, singers, language learners, and even storytellers. Shadowing. Shadowing is the art of hearing a line and repeating it immediately, like a soft echo that follows the original voice. It's not about perfect pronunciation. It's not about copying every sound exactly. It's about rhythm, flow, music. Shadowing teaches your mouth how English feels, not just how it sounds. Imagine standing behind a storyteller. The storyteller speaks and you follow one heartbeat later. like a shadow walking behind the light. That is shadowing. And today we will do it together. Before we begin, take one breath. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw relax. Now listen to my voice. I will say a line slowly. You repeat it after me. Don't think. Don't analyze. Just echo. Let's begin. I am here. I am listening. You repeat. Good. Next. My English grows when I practice. You repeat. Good. Again. I am not afraid to speak. You repeat. Shadowing trains your brain like nothing else. It synchronizes your ears, your mouth, and your memory. If grammar is the skeleton of a language, rhythm is the heartbeat. And shadowing gives you the heartbeat of English. Let's continue. Speak softly like a whisper of confidence. This moment is my practice. Your turn. Good. I can speak clearly if I relax. You repeat. Good. Now try a longer sentence. I do not need perfect English to communicate. I only need courage and practice. Repeat it slowly. Very good. Do you feel the rhythm? Do you feel the flow? This is how shadowing works. It builds fluency inside you, even when you don't notice it. Now let's do a short story shadowing exercise. I will tell a simple mini story one line at a time, and you will shadow each line. Are you ready? Here we go. One morning, I woke up and felt the sun on my face. You repeat. I opened my eyes and smiled because it was a quiet day. You repeat. I sat up slowly and breathed in the fresh air. You repeat. I told myself, today I will practice English. You repeat. And in that moment I felt proud. You repeat. Do you see what you just did? You shadowed a microstory. This is how actors train. This is how speakers train. This is how storytellers learn to sound natural. And this is how you will become fluent, one small echo at a time. Now, I want to explain something important. When you shadow, your goal is not to sound like me. Your goal is to find your own English voice. Shadowing simply helps you discover your rhythm, your comfort, your natural tone. Think of it like learning music. You listen. You copy. You play. Then one day you create your own song. Shadowing gives you control over English sounds. Let's practice a bit more, but this time faster. Repeat my lines immediately without pausing. Even if you make mistakes, do not stop. Ready? I can do this. You repeat quickly. I am learning every second. Repeat. My voice is strong. Repeat. I speak with confidence. Repeat. I grow when I practice. Repeat. Good. Now let's try emotional shadowing. Shadowing with feeling. This means speaking not just with sound, but with emotion in your voice. Confidence. Calmness. Curiosity. Listen first. I believe in myself. Repeat it with feeling. Again. I am becoming fluent. Repeat. Next. I trust my learning journey. Repeat. Feel how your voice changes when you speak with emotion. Fluency is not only about words. It's about feeling the words. Now let me tell you a small story about someone who used shadowing to transform their English. Her name was Mira. She loved English, but she felt shy. Every time she wanted to speak, she froze. She paused. She felt her chest tighten. She felt her face become warm. She avoided conversations. She felt like English was a heavy weight she could not lift. One day, her teacher told her something simple. Shadow me. One sentence a day. Mira thought, this is too easy. How can one sentence help? But she tried. She shadowed one line. Then two. Then three. The next day she shadowed again. And again. And again. After 1 month, she noticed something surprising. When she tried to speak naturally, her words came out more smoothly. She didn't freeze. She didn't search for words. They simply appeared, like water flowing from a river. Shadowing trained her mouth like a dance. Shadowing trained her brain like a pattern. Shadowing trained her confidence like a gentle fire. And then one day she spoke with a foreign tourist. Her English was calm, clear, confident. She smiled to herself because she knew the truth. She learned all of that, alone in her room, shadowing simple lines. You can do the same. And today you are already doing it. Now let's move into a deeper shadowing session. A longer one. A more flowing one. Listen to my voice. Then let your voice follow. This is my practice time. Repeat. I am patient with myself. Repeat. I can learn slowly. Repeat. I can learn quickly. Repeat. Every word I speak makes me better. Repeat. Every mistake I make teaches me. Repeat. I am stronger than my fear. Repeat. My voice matters. Repeat. My English matters. Repeat. Good. Now let's do a longer flowing shadow exercise like a small monologue. Listen carefully. Then shadow it one sentence at a time. I want to speak English confidently. You repeat. I want to express my ideas clearly. Repeat. I want to share my thoughts without fear. Repeat. I want to feel comfortable in conversations. Repeat. I know I can improve if I practice every day. Repeat. I know my English will grow with time. Repeat. I know I have the power to become fluent. Repeat. I trust myself. Repeat. And I trust the journey. Repeat. Wonderful. Your voice is growing. Your confidence is rising. You are not only speaking English, you are feeling it. Now we will step into a creative shadowing session. This time I will start a sentence, and you will finish it. Let's try. I am learning English because. You speak the rest. Good. Next. When I speak, I feel. Your turn. Good. Next. My biggest goal in English is. Finish it. Excellent. Do you see? You are creating your own voice. Shadowing is helping you speak more freely. Now let's breathe for a moment. Let your shoulders relax. Let your heartbeat slow. Let your mind become soft and open. You have shadowed beautifully. Your voice is stronger than before. You are ready for the next level, the level where you speak not only after me but with me. Before we close this section, repeat one last line. I am ready to grow even more. Say it again gently. I am ready to grow even more. Because you are. When I woke up the next morning, the first thing I heard was the soft sound of the wind moving through the trees outside my window. It was gentle, calm, almost like the world was whispering a good morning message to me. For a moment I just lay there listening to that soft sound. And then something strange happened. I remembered the sentence I had practiced the night before. I whispered it again with sleepy morning voice. Today I will speak English confidently. And the amazing thing is, it didn't feel strange anymore. It felt natural. It felt like a simple morning thought. And that gave me a small warm feeling inside, not excitement, not fear, something peaceful. I got out of bed and stood in front of the window. The road outside was quiet. The sky was slowly turning from pale blue to golden. And I felt that maybe the day would bring something new. I made my breakfast slowly, thinking in English the whole time. Not perfect English, but simple English. When I poured water into the kettle, I said quietly, boil the water. When I placed bread into the toaster, I said, toast the bread. And when the toast popped up, I said, oh, that was fast. These sentences were so simple, almost childish. But for me they were huge. Because this time I wasn't forcing English. I wasn't worried. I wasn't correcting myself. I wasn't thinking too hard. I was just living in English. And that was new. That was powerful. That was something I never thought I could do. After breakfast, I decided to take a short walk outside. The morning air was cool and smelled like fresh leaves. I put my hands in my pockets and thought, okay, let's try shadowing again. I listened to a simple English story on my phone. A story about a girl trying to find her way home in a forest. The narrator's voice was warm, slow, and clear. And as I walked down the road, I repeated after her, sentence by sentence. Sometimes I said the words quickly. Sometimes slowly. Sometimes with emotion. Sometimes softly. And suddenly, halfway through one sentence, I laughed. Not because the story was funny, but because I realized something. I was shadowing without fear, without embarrassment, without the usual stress. I was just doing it, like walking, like breathing, like something normal. But then, right when everything felt easy, something unexpected happened. I reached the small shop near the corner of my street, and an older man standing outside looked at me strangely. First, I didn't understand why. Then I realized. I was speaking out loud. I was repeating English sentences in the middle of the street. And he was staring at me like I was talking to invisible people. My whole body froze. My heart dropped. I felt embarrassed again, just like before. The old fear rushed back. I quickly stopped talking and looked away, pretending to check something on my phone. My face felt warm. My stomach felt tight. And the voice inside my head whispered, "See? This is why you shouldn't practice outside. People think you're strange." For a moment I wanted to turn around, walk home quickly, and forget the whole thing. But then something surprising happened. The old man smiled. A soft, gentle smile. And he said in a quiet voice, "Practicing English?" His accent was strong, but the sentence was clear. I nodded, still embarrassed. He laughed lightly, not unkindly but warmly, and said, "Good. Keep going. It helps." And then he walked away slowly, carrying a small bag of vegetables, leaving me standing there with a completely different feeling inside my chest. I had expected judgment. I had expected a strange look. I had expected discomfort. But instead I received encouragement. A simple, unexpected lesson. Most people don't care. And some people even understand. I took a deep breath. The embarrassment started to fade. And a new feeling appeared, a feeling of courage. I whispered to myself, "It's okay. I can keep going." And I started walking again. This time I didn't shadow out loud. I shadowed softly like a quiet whisper. But I didn't stop. I didn't give up. And something beautiful happened. The story I was shadowing suddenly felt more alive. The girl in the story was scared of getting lost in the forest, and I felt connected to her. She was trying to find her way. And I, in a different way, was trying to find mine, my voice, my confidence, my English. As I walked, the narrator said, "She took a deep breath and continued forward even though she was afraid." And I repeated softly, "She took a deep breath and continued forward even though she was afraid." And then I realized I wasn't just repeating words. I was living the lesson. I was understanding the meaning with my life. I was practicing English and practicing courage at the same time. By the time I reached home, something inside me had changed. I wasn't fully confident yet. I wasn't fluent. I wasn't perfect. But I was stronger, braver, more comfortable with myself. And for the first time I understood the truth. Confidence doesn't come from speaking perfectly. Confidence comes from speaking anyway, even when it feels strange, even when people look at you, even when you doubt yourself. That is the unexpected lesson the morning gave me. When I entered my room again, the light was warmer, brighter. I sat at my desk, opened my notebook, and wrote one simple line. I will keep going. And this time I believed it. Deeply. Fully. Honestly. And that belief was the beginning of real change. That evening, something unusual happened. After dinner, I sat on my bed with my notebook open, planning to write a few simple English sentences, just like I did every night. But when I picked up my pen, my hand didn't move. My mind felt full, like too many thoughts were trying to speak at the same time. I felt proud of myself for practicing outside earlier, but I also felt nervous. I wondered, will I be able to keep doing this? What if tomorrow I feel shy again? What if one bad moment makes me stop? I stared at the blank page for a long time. And then an idea came to me, simple, strange, but interesting. I thought, what if I try speaking to my future self? Not in perfect English. Not in a fancy way. Just a simple, honest conversation. So I closed my eyes, took a slow breath, and imagined a version of me 1 year from now. Confident. Fluent. Calm. Speaking English with ease, without fear. I imagined that version of me standing in a peaceful room, smiling gently, waiting to listen. And I whispered, hello. My voice was soft at first, like I was speaking to a friend I hadn't seen in years. I said, I'm trying. I really am. Some days are easy. Some days are hard. But I want to be like you. I want to speak English without fear. I want to feel comfortable. I want to enjoy it. I imagined my future self answering with a calm, warm voice. Keep going. You're closer than you think. For a moment, the room felt different, quieter, deeper, as if I had opened a small door inside my mind. I didn't know if this exercise was strange or brilliant, but it made me feel safe, supported, less alone. I continued speaking slowly, practicing simple English sentences, but this time with emotion, with honesty, with meaning. I said, I am learning. I am improving. I am speaking. I am not giving up. Every sentence felt like a small step forward. Every word felt like a kind hand on my shoulder. Then something unexpected happened. While imagining my future self, I heard my own voice sounding different. More stable. More confident. More natural. It wasn't perfect, but it was steady, as if the fear had paused for a moment. And the strange thing is, that moment changed everything. Because when you imagine your future self speaking clearly, your mind starts to believe it is possible. And when your mind believes something, your mouth follows. Your voice follows. Your courage follows. I spent almost 20 minutes speaking softly like that, imagining my future self listening. I talked about my day. I talked about the man outside the shop who encouraged me. I talked about how proud I felt, even when the embarrassment tried to stop me. And the more I spoke, the lighter I felt. It was like releasing weight I didn't know I was carrying. When I finally opened my eyes, the room looked the same, but inside I felt different. I felt calmer, more grounded, more ready. I took my notebook again and wrote a simple sentence. I am not alone in this journey. And it was true. I had my past self who struggled. I had my present self who was trying. And now I had my future self who was cheering for me quietly from ahead. That thought was comforting in a way I never expected English practice to be. The next part of the exercise came naturally. I stood in front of the mirror again. This time, before speaking, I whispered, "Talk to your future self." And suddenly, the fear that was always in my voice became softer. I looked at my reflection, not with judgment but with kindness. I said slowly, "You are learning. You are improving. One day you will speak freely." My reflection didn't look embarrassed. Didn't look scared. It looked hopeful. And for the first time, I saw myself the way a teacher sees a student, with encouragement, patience, and belief. Then I tried something new. I switched between two voices, my present self and my future self. First, with my normal voice, I said, "Sometimes I feel shy. Sometimes I don't know the right words." Then in a stronger, calmer voice, I answered, "That's okay. You are growing. Keep speaking." Felt like acting. Felt like storytelling. But more than anything, it felt healing. I repeated this small conversation many times, and something beautiful happened. The future self voice began to feel more natural than the scared one. Slowly, minute by minute, the confident voice became the main voice. The real voice. My voice. When I finished, I felt lighter, almost like I had untied a small knot inside my chest. I sat on my bed again and listened to the quiet evening sounds, a car passing outside, the soft humming of the fan, distant voices from the street. And in that quiet moment, I realized something important. Learning English alone doesn't mean you are truly alone. You have your thoughts. You have your imagination. You have your future self guiding you. And sometimes that is enough. More than enough. Before sleeping, I whispered one last line in English, very slowly, very clearly. "Thank you for trying." And I wasn't saying it to someone else. I was saying it to myself. The version of me who keeps going. The version of me who still believes. The version of me who is learning to speak not just English but courage. And with that soft whisper, I turned off the light and let the quiet night wrap around me like a warm blanket. The next morning felt different. I woke up slowly, like my mind was still walking through the dream of last night's conversation with my future self. I lay there for a moment, staring at the ceiling, letting the quiet morning fill the room. And then a strange but warm thought appeared in my mind. Maybe today is the day I try something new. I sat up, stretched my arms, and walked to the mirror. The same mirror that once made me feel nervous. The same mirror where my voice used to shake. The same mirror where I felt like an actor who didn't know the script. But today the mirror didn't look scary. It looked inviting, almost like an old friend waiting for a talk. I stood in front of it and touched the cold frame lightly. Then softly I whispered, "Good morning." My reflection whispered back silently. And suddenly I smiled. Not because I felt confident, but because I felt safe. My room was quiet. My reflection was patient. And my voice was ready. Not perfect, not loud, but ready. I decided to start with something very simple. I said, "My name is," and I said my name slowly, clearly, with kindness. Then I added, "I am learning English." These sentences were easy, sentences I had spoken many times before. But today they felt different. They had emotion. They had intention. They had a small spark inside them, a spark of belief. I looked into my own eyes in the mirror and thought, why was I so scared all these years? And the answer came quietly. Because I never practiced being kind to myself. I always practiced grammar. I always practiced vocabulary. But I never practiced confidence. I never practiced courage. I never practiced speaking with a gentle heart. So I tried something new. I put my hand on my chest and said slowly, "I am trying my best." Then I said, "I am improving every day." And then, "I am not afraid to learn." My voice didn't shake. My shoulders didn't tighten. My heart didn't beat too fast. I just spoke. Softly. Honestly. Naturally. The mirror exercise felt different from any practice I had done before. It wasn't about sounding good. It wasn't about speaking fast. It wasn't about perfect sentences. It was about connection. A connection between my voice and my heart, between my present self and my future self. After a few minutes, I felt a small wave of courage rise in me. So I decided to challenge myself a little. I picked a simple topic, my morning routine. I looked at myself and said, I wake up early. I wash my face. I make breakfast. I drink warm tea. I get ready for the day. Then I added more details. Sometimes I feel tired in the morning. Sometimes I feel excited. Sometimes I feel nervous about speaking English. But I still try. I kept talking. Slowly. Naturally. Like I was telling a small story to a friend. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't judge myself. I didn't think, is this correct? Or is this good enough? I just spoke. And that small action, that gentle speaking, felt like opening a new door inside me. After almost 20 minutes of mirror practice, I felt my voice getting stronger. Not louder. Not perfect. Just stronger. Like a plant growing after rain. Like a river moving quietly but steadily. Then something beautiful happened. I decided to ask myself a simple question in English. I said, "What do you want today?" And without thinking too much, I answered, "I want to speak with confidence. I want to keep going. I want to enjoy learning." The sentence surprised me. It didn't sound forced. It didn't sound memorized. It sounded real. It sounded like the truth. I took a deep breath and continued speaking, building small answers, small sentences, small pieces of courage. I want to learn new words. I want to practice without fear. I want to feel proud of myself. And then softly I said, I want to believe I can do this. Those last words felt powerful in a quiet way. Like a tiny flame in the dark. Like a voice inside me whispering, yes, keep going. After finishing, I stepped back from the mirror and felt something warm in my chest. Not excitement. Not fear. Something deeper, acceptance. Acceptance of my voice. Acceptance of my level. Acceptance of my journey. I realized something important in that moment. The mirror was not just showing my face. It was showing my progress. It was showing my courage. It was showing the version of me who refused to quit. With that quiet realization, I closed my notebook, took one more slow breath, and whispered to myself, you're doing well. Keep going. And for the first time ever, I believed those words completely. The next day began quietly, just like many other days. But inside me, something felt different. I felt a little taller, a little lighter, a little stronger. Even though my English was still simple, something in my heart had changed. I wasn't just learning English anymore. I was living it, feeling it, becoming comfortable with it. After finishing breakfast, I decided to go for a short walk again. The air was warm and a soft breeze touched my face. I walked slowly, thinking in English, whispering small sentences to myself. The sky is clear today. The air feels nice. I feel calm. These were such small sentences, but each one made my voice more comfortable, more natural. As I walked past the small shop near the corner, the same shop where the older man saw me speaking English, I wondered if I would see him again. I didn't expect anything. I didn't look inside. I just kept walking. But then I heard a voice behind me. Practicing again? I stopped. Slowly I turned around. There he was, the same older man, holding a small plastic bag filled with vegetables and smiling gently. His voice was friendly, warm, and surprisingly patient. I felt my heart jump a little. A real conversation with a real person in English. My mind suddenly filled with questions. Will I make mistakes? Will I freeze? Will he think I'm strange? But before those worries could become bigger, I remembered my mirror practice. I remembered the voice of my future self. I remembered the small courage growing inside me. So I smiled back. A small smile, but a real one. Yes, I said softly. I am practicing again. He nodded with a kind expression. as if he understood exactly how difficult that one small sentence was for me. "Good," he said. "English is useful. Keep going. You sound better today." Those words hit me like a warm ray of sunlight. You sound better today. I didn't expect encouragement like that. I didn't expect kindness from someone who didn't know me. I felt my shoulders relax. My breathing slowed. And for the first time in a real conversation, I didn't feel the need to run away. He pointed to my earphones and said, "Listening practice?" His accent was strong, but he spoke slowly for me. That small kindness made me brave. "Yes," I said. "I listen and repeat and shadow." "Shadow?" he repeated, smiling. "Good technique." I felt myself stand a little straighter. Not because I was confident, but because he made me feel safe enough to try. Then he asked, "Where did you learn about shadowing?" I opened my mouth to answer, then froze for a second. I knew the answer in my mind, but forming it into words took time. Before fear could rise, I reminded myself, "Speak slowly. Simple words. You don't need perfect English." So I said, "I learned from a video. It helps me speak. It helps me feel strong." He gave a slow nod like he respected my effort. "Good," he said. "Small practice every day makes big progress." His words were simple, but they felt powerful because they were true. And then something unexpected happened. Out of nowhere, he asked me, "Do you want to practice speaking for 1 minute?" My heart jumped. I felt a warm shock in my chest. A real conversation with a real human, right here, right now. My brain screamed, "No, you're not ready." But my heart whispered, "Try. Just try." I took a slow breath, felt the ground under my feet, and said, "Okay, 1 minute." He smiled. "Tell me about your day." A simple question. A normal question. But for me it felt big. I took a deep breath and began slowly. "I woke up early today. I felt calm. I practiced speaking in front of the mirror." I paused, afraid he might not understand. But he nodded, listening closely. So I continued, "I feel a little more confident today. I want to speak English more." He smiled again. "Good. You're doing well. Keep going." Then he told me something important. He said, "Don't worry about mistakes. Mistakes mean you are trying. People who don't try make no mistakes." His voice was gentle, but the message was strong. And I realized something. I wasn't afraid of him judging me. I was afraid of judging myself. That 1-minute conversation turned into 2 minutes, then 3. I said simple sentences. Very simple. I stopped many times to think. I used basic words. But he never looked bored. He never laughed. He never hurried me. He just listened. And then something beautiful happened. For the first time in my life, I felt my English voice connect with another human being. Not with an app. Not with a video. Not with a mirror. A real person. A real listener. A real moment. It didn't feel perfect. It didn't feel smooth. But it felt real. And real is more important than perfect. When our conversation ended, he placed his hands behind his back and said, "Tomorrow speak 2 minutes." He smiled warmly. Every day a little more. I felt my heart fill with something soft and bright. Hope. Confidence. Courage. Something small but powerful. I whispered, "Thank you." And he nodded before walking away slowly, peacefully, as if nothing special had happened. But for me, everything had happened. It was the first time English didn't feel like a school subject. It felt like a bridge. A door. Connection. As I walked home, I repeated his words quietly. Every day a little more. And with each step, I felt something begin to grow inside me. Not just English, but a new part of myself. a part that believed in progress, a part that believed in effort, a part that believed in me. The next morning felt brighter than usual. Not because the sun was stronger, but because something inside me felt new. Like a small window had opened in my mind, letting in a gentle light. I remembered the old man's words. Every day a little more. They echoed in my head like a soft rhythm, a quiet encouragement, a simple path I could follow. After breakfast, I stood in front of the mirror again. This time I didn't hesitate. I didn't worry. I didn't ask myself if I was ready. I simply began to speak. I said, "Today I feel different." And the moment the words left my mouth, I felt a strange rush. Not fear, not excitement, something in between. Something warm. Something alive. My voice didn't sound perfect. It didn't sound confident. But it sounded real, and that was enough. I decided to start with a simple story. Not a big story, not a dramatic story. Just a small story about my morning. I said, slowly, I woke up. I drank tea. I looked out of the window. The street was quiet. Simple sentences. Simple English. But something beautiful happened. For the first time, the sentences connected smoothly, naturally, like a small river flowing from one rock to another. There was no sudden stop. No fear blocking my thoughts. No voice telling me, "Don't speak." My English flowed. Softly. Gently. Naturally. I didn't plan my sentences. I didn't translate in my mind. I didn't check every word. I just spoke. And because I spoke slowly, my mind had time to breathe. My words had space. My voice had room to move. After a few minutes, I felt brave enough to try something new. I said, "Let me tell you a story from yesterday." And I began talking about the old man again. The moment when I said yes to speaking with him. The moment when he encouraged me. The moment when I felt brave for the first time. As I told the story, my voice changed. It wasn't shaky. It wasn't nervous. It was soft but steady, clear but gentle. I didn't know if it was fluency. I didn't know if it was progress. But it felt like something important was happening. I finished the story, took a breath, and said softly, "I want to speak like this every day." And hearing myself say that, hearing my own voice express a wish, made my heart feel warm and proud. I left the mirror and sat at my desk. I opened my notebook and wrote, "I can speak more than I thought." The sentence surprised me. It felt strong, felt true. And for the first time, I looked at my English journey as something possible, not impossible. Later that afternoon, I went for another walk. I didn't plan to meet the old man. I didn't plan to talk to anyone. I simply wanted to enjoy the fresh air and practice thinking in English. But while walking, something interesting happened. My thoughts naturally switched to English. Not perfectly, not fully, but enough. Enough for me to say in my mind, "This tree is beautiful. The wind feels nice. My steps are slow today." Simple thoughts. But the important thing was they came without force, without effort, without worrying. I realized something in that moment. When you stop fighting the language starts to come to you. When you stop judging every mistake, your voice becomes free. When you stop trying to be perfect, you become real. And real English is beautiful. As I continued walking, I noticed a mother and her little child talking softly. The child was speaking slowly, learning new words, making mistakes. But the mother didn't correct him every second. She smiled, listened, and let him speak. And something clicked inside me. That child is learning the same way I am, I thought. Slowly, naturally, with mistakes, with small steps, with simple words. I felt a deep realization rise inside me. English is not something I have to fight. It is something I have to grow. like plants growing in soil, like waves forming in the ocean, like confidence growing quietly inside a heart. When I reached the corner shop again, the older man wasn't there. But I didn't feel disappointed. I felt grateful, because yesterday, he helped me open a door. And today I walked through it. That evening I practiced shadowing again. But this time the experience felt different. The sentences were not heavy. The rhythm was not stressful. The speaker's voice felt like a guide, not a test. I repeated slowly at first, then naturally, then confidently. And for the first time in shadowing practice, I didn't pause because of fear. I paused only to breathe. After about 15 minutes of shadowing, I stopped the audio, stood up and whispered, "I can do this." And this time it wasn't a hope. It wasn't a wish. It wasn't a dream. It was a truth. A soft truth, but a powerful one. Before going to sleep, I looked at my reflection one more time. My eyes looked tired, but my expression looked peaceful. I touched the mirror lightly and whispered, "Thank you for not giving up." And I meant it. Every word. I lay down in bed, listening to the quiet night, and something beautiful happened. My last thought before sleep was in English. A simple sentence but full of meaning. "Tomorrow I will speak again." And with that small promise, the day ended, gently, naturally, beautifully. Thank you so much for joining today's lesson here at JBC English Learning Academy. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below telling me what you want to learn next. Your support helps the channel grow and helps me create more lessons for you. Take care, keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next class.